Have you ever been texting and calling and they're not giving you the response that you would like, right? They're short with you, or you try to plan things and they say, you know what, I'll get back to you. Well, in episode number 182, we're talking about the signs that you way more into them than they are you. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? We back at you with another episode of Making the Case, episode number 182. I'm your host, Dr. Jacob Isom. Hey, we got two channel norms over here. One, we'll take points on our people, and then two, we don't do that cussing and derogatory stuff because we like to keep it professional over here. All right. Now let's get into it. I think this is a very tricky topic. If you ask me, in my humble opinion, this topic, like a lot of the topics that we cover, has been talked about. I think when it comes to men and women, we will probably differ on the opinions on this topic, but hey, that's what we're here for. We're here to have a conversation. All right. So we're talking about signs that they're more into you than you are them. Um, I believe that there'll always be one person that's more into one person than he is the other. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let me explain to you why. Because there's no such thing as equality. I've talked about it numerous times on here on this channel. Because a lot of times, and I will say this, a lot of times it is women, they think that, hey, everything should be equal. Even though we look at life, nothing is equal, right? So it's, to me, it's very delusional to think that two people are going to love each other the same, even when it comes to marriage, right? Even if you get married, that doesn't mean that both of you love each other equally. What does that even look like? Right? Do we judge it based off a gift that I receive? Because if we did that, well, men definitely give more to women financially and material wise than men get. So we can't base it off that, right? And how can you quantify feelings? So this is a conversation that you're going to constantly get yourself into. But what I will say is a relationship and a marriage is more likely to last long term if the woman is into the man more than the man is into him. And the reason why that is because a man needs to be on his purpose. He needs to be focused on his person, becoming who he needs to become, right? And doing his thing out there. That doesn't mean he don't love you, right? Because obviously, if he's willing to marry you or commit to you in a relationship, that means something. That's what women got to understand. All right. So, if a man is more into a woman, then that can lead to some trouble, right? Because eventually, that nice guy routine that he gives me everything I want is going to wear on a woman, and she's gonna be like, "Where your backbone at?" Right? Because women respect and love strong men, a man that can put their foot down and tell them no from time to time. Now, I'm not saying they will always want to hear no, but they definitely want a man to take charge and be like, hey, no, this is what we doing. Okay. But if you got a yes man and a man that just want the happy wife, happy life mentality, right? We see where those relationships have taken us throughout the years and not in a good direction. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to talk about some clips and uncover some more things about, why one person may be into another more than the other. So, we're just going to get into it. All right. So, without further ado, let's get into our first clip.
A relationship, the man will only change for one woman. A man will only change. The man will only change who he is for one woman. Why? Because I don't want to lose her. But if I don't care, watch this. If I don't care about losing you, hey, it is what it is. I yell at you. I fuss you out. What you mean? You insecure, bro? Get out of here. I ain't got time for you. The woman should like the man more than the man likes the woman for the relationship to really thrive. Many of you may not believe, may not agree. Many of you will agree. The woman must like the man more than the man likes the woman. In a relationship.
And once again, of course, I totally agree because that's a statement I just made, and I kind of gave a reason why I said that. I don't think he went into depth of why that really is the case, but I definitely agree what he said in the beginning is that like a man will change for that one woman he's choosing to marry or settle down with. right? He will change for her. But the one thing he shouldn't be changing is he shouldn't be changing his morals, his values, his character for her, right? She has to be in line with, those things that he has, and vice versa, right? She shouldn't be changing, who she is internally just to be with that man, right? They have to be in sync. They have to line up, right? But a man will make some concessions for the woman that he loves. Like I said, like it's not the fact that he doesn't love her; it's the fact that no, it's like, you're gonna be. I'm the leader. You're gonna be on this train with me, and this is the direction we going. Because women always talk about they want a leader, right? And this is just how it goes, right? This is what it is. So the man has to make sure that he's focused on that. And so him pouring so much into her where he loses himself, the relationship loses credibility, and eventually she will start finding little reasons not to like him. And the relationship is gone. All right. Let's go to the next clip.
To love a woman more than she loves him for a relationship to work. 100%. If a woman loves a man more than he loves her, and he's not more physically and emotionally invested, it will never work. Men have to want you more than you want them. They have to love you more than you love them. And that's gonna show in his effort and how much work he puts in. When a woman loves a man more, she's throwing herself at him, and he's not really putting in any work. He's not invested the same. He might seem like he cares at first, but eventually he's gonna lose interest. Bottom line, the more work a man puts in truly defines how much he loves you, and he's gotta love you more than you love him for the relationship to work. A man needs to love a woman.
Now, this is the opposite side, right? The first video I showed you was the man saying that no, the woman needs to love a man more. He's saying that the man needs to love a woman more. I totally disagree. And it seemed like a young cat. He'll understand this as he grow, right? You talking about an OG right here. All right. So let's talk about it, right? So the reason why I disagree with him is that men show interest when men are paying money on expensive dates, when some men out here buying cars and jewelry and stuff like that. That's him showing interest. Now, you can say that, well, Dr. Isom, men out here trick all the time, right? Especially men with money, it means nothing to them. But the thing about it is you got to understand, even though there are some tricks out here and men can spend money and not even think about it, right? Maybe they even writing it off on their taxes. It, him making the money that he make, he still cares about his money, right? And if he's doing that stuff, there's a level of interest there, right? So no, if he's putting all this interest into a woman, it's sidetracking him, right? And men and women show interest in different ways. A woman is going to show interest by the little things that she do, right? So is she thinking about, where are you taking her? Say, no, baby, we could just have a quiet night at home. We don't have to do all this. No, let me do this for you. Like that's how a woman shows interest. It's the little things that she do for you. Because men, we don't need much, right? A man shows interest by doing the taking out on dates and, let me get this for you. Oh, your car need to be serviced. Let me like we show interest in more so of the big things, right? And it doesn't have to be equivalent, and it doesn't have to be that he does doing that all the time. Naturally, the smaller things are going to come up more so often than the big things. So even if he's willing to do the big things, he's showing interest, right? So interest just looks different. So I definitely disagree with the young man. And like I said, he'll get more experience to understand that this formula is not going to end up, paying it out in the long run. Let's get into the next clip.
Women are in a relationship for security, and a man is in a relationship for love.
So you think men?
What am I here for if all I'm getting is what you're saying you're giving me?
Which is the love.
What am I getting? So what am I here for? You name it.
It gotta be love because there's nothing else that's coming.
Thank you.
I don't believe that though.
That's the fucked up part about it. That's a part about being delusional as a woman.
Yeah, you're right. Because you're not really getting nothing else. And if a man is really there, it's gotta be because he loves you.
That's why I say men love unconditionally, women love conditionally. 95% of women.
Hey, and that goes to further prove the case that a woman has to love a man more, right? Because if she's only with you because of what you can provide for her, what you can give to her, eventually that is going to grow stale and that is going to go old. And we know that a lot of time women are their feelings change based on the season, right? Think about it. When a woman is on her menstrual cycle, her feelings are changing. And that's just the truth about it, right? So if she's not truly invested in that man, say, hey, I'm here through thick and thin, you know what I mean? I truly love him. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is my person, right? That has to be there because a man is there understanding that he's going to be doing more. That's why there's no such thing as equality in a relationship or two people loving themselves equally. A man is going to do more. Men put their life on the line for the women they love. Most men are out here providing financially. And we're not talking about the 50-50 conversation, right? Because even if you are going 50-50, guess what? If it's a bump in the night, he got to get up. So what are we talking about here? Men are giving more on dates when it comes to vacation. Typically, the man is paying. Like, there is no equality. We got to stop that. All right? A man is giving more. So if the man is giving more and he understands this, right? And it naturally just come to him, right? She really has to gravitate to him and really like this and love this man because she understands that. She appreciates that in that man, that he's doing all these things. So if she's not pouring into him, if she's not being his support system, his helpmate, then it's just not going to work. And that's why it's important for men to find that person that they're equally yoked with, that they're aligned with. Find out her intentions and intentions in the beginning. All right. I got one more video clip for you. We're going to wrap this up.
This always ends up being a super controversial topic for whatever reason. I think it's because there's this pervasive idea that everything is equal and 50-50. When it comes to relationships, it always gets idealized as this 50-50 transaction between man and woman. The main issue with this is in reality, it's not like this. I've brought up this statistic multiple times. 40% of males reproduce, while 80% of females reproduce. What this means is that there's 2 times the women reproducing in comparison to the men. The math simply doesn't stack up. Women are very clearly sharing guys. The reason for this is quite simple. Women are attracted to the idea of looking up to a man. Essentially, they desire a guy to be better than she is. When I say better, I mean contextually better. Women are typically attracted to guys that are taller than them. They're attracted to guys that are more muscular than they are. They're attracted to guys that make more money than they do. There's a bunch of other characteristics like resourcefulness and culture, but we won't get into that. The point is, women have much more specific standards when it comes to men than men do for women. The reality is, there's a small percentage of men that are able to fulfill all of these requirements. This is why, guys, they have to like you more than you like them for the relationship to function. Now, let's keep in mind, there are some women that can tolerate a man that's considered equal to her for long periods of time. But in order to be extremely attractive to a woman, she has to like you more. This also plays into the masculine-feminine duality. Men are inherently driven to dominate, and women are inherently driven to be submissive. It's only in this dynamic that a long-term relationship can function for many years. Let's consider our grandparents. In the case of mine, it was always super traditional and the man was the leader. Both of my grandfathers were married for over 50 years. The vast majority of people can relate to this experience. So let me ask you the question. Why was it okay then and relationships flourished, and now it's not okay and relationships are suffering? The answer to this question does not need to be complicated. We are unable to beat our human instinct, at least in the long term. Sure, in the short term, you can convince yourself to try anything. What you'll notice is a lot of women are doing exactly this. They're convincing themselves out of ideology to go for somebody they don't find as attractive purely for the utility. Not only this, but they're trying to convince themselves that they're really in love with this person when their actions show otherwise. And this is exactly why the vast majority of women prefer to be dominated in the bedroom. All the evidence is pointing in that direction, and you as a man are still being convinced to be submissive. This is why I keep telling you guys over and over again. Focus on your own development and self-improvement. This includes your mental, your physical, your financial, and some could argue spiritual. By making these things a priority, you're naturally putting yourself in the power position. This is because you fundamentally understand without these things, you won't be desired in the way you want to be desired. Guys, let the losers take the submissive path. It's only a matter of time before she leaves him and goes for somebody else. This is especially true when it comes to Instagram relationships. Yesterday, she was making full-blown love posts, and today they broke up. The final point I'll make is this. If you find yourself liking her way too much, you most likely have work to do. For more videos like these, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to comment.
And I ended with that video for a reason. He broke it down beautifully within a couple of minutes, right? She has to like you more because it's in our biology, all right? She wants a dominant man, an alpha male, if you want to say that. She wants a man that's taller than her, that she feels like can protect her, that makes more money. Why do you think women are having such a hard time now? Because women income have went up, have risen. So guess what that means when it comes to her standards? She gonna want a man that's even making just as much, if not more. And what she prefers is she wants that man to make more money, right? She wants that man to be smarter, all these things. And whether or not a woman is willing to admit it or not, instinctually, this is what she wants. So that's why it's so difficult when it comes to dating. When he talking about his grandparents, we're talking about a time where women and men understood their roles, right? And when it came to material things and, being a consumer and stuff like that, we wasn't focused on that back then, right? It was truly, okay, I'm the man, I do this. I'm the woman, I do this. Let's put it together, have these babies, and continue our lineage. Right? Nowadays, we focus more so on money. We focus more so on career. Right? We focus more so on material things, vacations, and things of that nature. Right? So naturally, what we got to do, we got to find somebody that can meet and match that or go beyond. And that's why a lot of women are having a hard time because they're not in their feminine nature. And if you're a man talking about, yeah, baby, I'll do everything for you, you're not in your masculine nature. That is the disconnect that's happening. And the reason why you have men out here who does fit that billing, it's hard for them to commit and settle down is because he understands a lot of women are attracted to him, particularly if he's attractive. We know that the money tips the scales, right? And a lot of men who's unattractive will get women because they have the money. But if a man has the attractiveness, the money, the success, the intelligence, come on now, what are we talking about? Okay. And as much as women don't like the fact that they're sharing men, if we really sit down and do a deep dive on the numbers and the reality of it, we understand. What do I say all the time? It's not about what's right. It's not about what's wrong. It's just about what is. And we're going to end it on that. Okay? Hey, I thought this was a great conversation, man. Hey, I think we're going to have to continue to talk about this more. We'll do a video and maybe even a series on a topic such as this. So just let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see. But definitely like, subscribe. I know a lot of you are watching, but make sure you hit that subscribe button. All right. But as always, I'm you, you are me. Love, always love, return. Remember, the worst thing you can do is lie to yourself. And we out. Deuces. More love.